Friends, gather round because things are about to get bureaucratic up in here. As of March 19, 2025, good old Trump's administration decided to grace us with a delightful little present mandatory in-person identity verification for Social Security beneficiaries who can't, for whatever reason, access their online accounts. That's right, folks, phone verification, gone. Like your hopes and dreams after a visit to a Trump casino. Now you might think, John, this doesn't sound too bad. How hard can popping into an office be? Well, strap in, Buttercup, because I'm about to introduce you to the dumpster fire that is the current state of the Social Security Administration. Remember those long lines at the DMV? Yeah, imagine that, but with more despair and the faint scent of Bengay. See, not everyone is tech-savvy, especially our senior citizens, and let's not even get started on those with disabilities who might struggle to physically get to these offices, which, by the way, are closing faster than Trump's businesses after a bad tweet. The new policy also includes biometric verification, adding another layer of complexity. So if you're not tech-savvy or have mobility issues, this new system could be a real challenge. Hold on to your dentures, folks, because Trump's generosity knows no bounds. From March 27th onward, if you've ever been overpaid by Social Security, and let's be honest, who hasn't in this bureaucratic labyrinth, you're now required to pay back the full amount before you see another dime of your benefits. That's right, no more of that 10% monthly deduction nonsense they were doing before. Now it's full repayment or bust. Because apparently, the best way to help seniors struggling to make ends meet is to financially cripple them entirely. I'm sure Trump imagines this as some genius move to combat fraud. But let's be real, this is just another way to punish the most vulnerable among us, the people who rely on these benefits to survive. Full repayment means many seniors will face severe financial hardship, potentially losing access to essential services and basic needs. This policy could lead to increased poverty and health issues among the elderly, making it harder for them to live with dignity. Remember that dumpster fire we talked about earlier? Well, someone just threw gasoline on it. Thanks to the fine work of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, because of course that's a thing, led by everyone's favorite techno king, Elon Musk, the SSA is about as well staffed as a Trump rally after a fact check. We're talking thousands of staff cuts and over 40 field offices closed, mostly in the South, because, shockingly, Trump doesn't care about those folks. The result? Longer wait times, dropped calls, and more frustrated Americans than a family Thanksgiving with both Fox News and MSNBC on TV. But hey, at least the government is saving money, right? Money they can then funnel into more tax cuts for billionaires, because that's what this country needs: fewer people to help the elderly, and more money in the pockets of those who already have swimming pools full of it. The chaos doesn't end there. Protests have erupted nationwide, with people demanding better services and accountability. News outlets are buzzing, and the public is more divided than ever. As the debate rages on, one thing is clear: the future of Social Security is more uncertain than ever. Now I know what you're thinking. John, this all sounds terrible, but surely there's some upside, right? And to that, I say bless your naive little heart. These changes are about as welcome as a colonoscopy on your birthday, especially for vulnerable populations like seniors, people with disabilities, and anyone who doesn't have the internet skills of a 12-year-old on TikTok. Imagine being an 80-year-old grandma in rural America. You've got a flip phone, a dial-up modem if you're lucky, and the closest SSA office is now 200 miles away. You need to verify your identity, but you can't drive, and good luck finding a Greyhound bus that goes anywhere these days. What do? This isn't just inconvenient, folks, it's downright cruel. And it's a direct result of a government that's more concerned with cutting costs than helping its citizens. The human cost is immense, with many unable to afford basic necessities. Families are torn apart, and the emotional toll is devastating. Communities are rallying, but the struggle is real and ongoing. Section 5. Fraud crackdown or benefit backlash. The debate over Social Security changes. The Trump administration, in their infinite wisdom, claims these changes are necessary to combat fraud and reduce improper payments. They love to toss around that $72 billion figure, the amount of improper payments made between 2015 and 2022. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, here's the kicker. It represents less than 1% of the total benefits paid out during that time. That's right, they're willing to turn the entire system upside down, causing widespread hardship and chaos, all to address a problem that's statistically insignificant. It's like using a sledgehammer to kill a fly. A very small, statistically insignificant fly. Critics, including those pesky Democrats and advocacy groups like 8ARP and Social Security Works, are up in arms. Figuratively, of course, because seniors throwing chairs is an OSHA nightmare waiting to happen. They argue that these changes create unnecessary barriers to accessing benefits and disproportionately harm the most vulnerable. But hey, who needs facts when you've got fear-mongering and alternative facts, right? The debate rages on, with both sides digging in their heels. As the 2025 changes loom, the question remains, will it be a fraud crackdown or a benefit backlash? Section 6, a glimmer of hope, expedited processing for the digitally savvy. Okay folks, I know things have been bleak so far, but I've got a tiny sliver of good news. If you're one of the lucky few who can navigate the digital hellscape that is the SSA website and manage to authenticate your identity online, you can now get your direct deposit information updated in just one business day. That's right, no more waiting 30 excruciating days for your money to end up in the right account. Because in Trump's America, efficiency is only rewarded if you're tech-savvy enough to navigate a website designed by a committee of pigeons. But for those who can, it's a game changer. Section 7, Voices from the Trenches, Advocacy Groups, and Congress Speak Out. It's not just me folks, even those stuffy politicians are starting to notice that something stinks in the state of Social Security. Democratic members of Congress have been vocal in their opposition to these changes, particularly the identity verification requirements. They've pointed out the obvious, that these changes disproportionately burden seniors, people with disabilities, and those without access to reliable internet. But hey, who needs empathy when you can ram through legislation that benefits your corporate donors, right? Advocacy groups like AARP and Social Security Works have also been sounding the alarm, calling these changes cruel and unnecessary. They've highlighted the stories of seniors struggling to access their benefits, facing impossible choices between food and medicine. But hey, who needs compassion when you can focus on that tiny percentage of fraudulent payments, right? Both Congress and advocacy groups are united in their call for more humane and practical solutions to Social Security issues. Section 8. Trump's Social Security Paradox, protecting the program while undermining it. Trump loves to talk a big game about protecting Social Security. He's promised to strengthen the program and protect it from fraud. He's even floated the idea of exempting Social Security from taxation because, billionaires need tax breaks more than seniors need their retirement benefits. But his actions tell a very different story. By slashing funding, closing offices, and implementing policies that make it harder for people to access their benefits, Trump is doing the exact opposite of protecting Social Security. He's actively undermining it, chipping away at its foundations until there's nothing left but a pile of rubble. And then, I guarantee you he'll blame the Democrats. The paradox is clear. While claiming to protect, he's systematically dismantling the very program millions rely on. Section 9. The Uncertain Future of Social Security, a Legacy at a Crossroads. Social Security is at a crossroads. For decades, it's been a lifeline for millions of Americans, providing a safety net for our most vulnerable citizens. But under the Trump administration, it's facing an unprecedented assault. The changes implemented in 2025 are just the latest in a long line of attacks on this vital program. The future of Social Security is uncertain. Will it survive another 4 years of Trump? Will it be able to withstand the constant barrage of attacks from those who would rather see it dismantled than strengthened? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the fight to save Social Security is far from over. As we stand at this critical juncture, the legacy of Social Security hangs in the balance. The decisions made today will shape the future for generations to come.